Hey everyone, this is Joe with Algo Cleanup, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Tinyman, and specifically talking about their Tiny token, which they recently just launched their airdrop. So if you've participated or interacted with Tinyman in any way, you should really go and check and see if you're eligible for this airdrop to earn some Tiny tokens. But today I'm going to be talking about my strategy for Tinyman's governance and how it dovetails nicely into some of my previous videos about how I leverage folks' finance and their platform to take advantage of gAlgo, their liquid governance token, combining that with Algo into a liquidity pool token that I typically provide on Tinyman, and then leveraging those liquidity pool tokens in Algorand Governance. So I have previous videos on that. You can check the description for those strategies. But what's nice is if you followed any of those strategies, you would be eligible for a Tiny token airdrop, how you can earn even more rewards with your Tiny tokens to earn even more Tiny by choosing to support through their governance protocol the gAlgo Algo pool. So let's go through that whole strategy right now. So to begin, I'm going to head over to the governance tab, and I have already locked my Tiny tokens that I received from the airdrop. You can see my current Tiny power is 655. This is a combination of two factors: how long of a lock period you select and how many Tiny tokens you lock. And because I have locked, you can see that I have 116 Tiny tokens to claim. So I can claim those. That's a weekly reward pool. There's a million Tiny given away weekly. So you can see I just claimed my Tiny tokens, and you can see my estimated rewards. You don't need to claim these weekly. They will continue to accrue and add until you're ready to claim them. One important aspect, if you have been following my strategies, is you'll want to make sure that your Algo balance doesn't fall below the Algo balance that you committed for governance period 12. One way to ensure that is to make sure that you're claiming the rewards from the farming program on Tinyman to ensure that you have extra Algo. You could potentially swap some of your Tiny token into Algo, but that's just something you want to be aware of. And you can always lock your Tiny tokens. You can lock additional Tiny tokens, or you can lock for additional period of time. I already locked for the longest period of time, and so 14 days have transpired since I locked. So I could go ahead and update that and lock for a longer period to help keep my Tiny power up. You'll note that your Tiny power drops every day because you're becoming closer and closer to that unlocking period, which means your Tiny tokens that are locked hold less voting power. And that makes sense because your lock period is coming closer and closer to an end. So they're trying to reward those that have locked their tokens for a longer period of time and reward those that have locked up more Tiny tokens. Once you lock your Tiny tokens, they are in a smart contract. You can't undo it. So you want to be very conscientious of the strategy that you're pursuing. But today, I'm very focused on the farming portion of this strategy and how it fits in with the gAlgo Algo strategy that I've laid out in previous videos. So you'll note that 1.7 million Tiny tokens are allocated to a monthly reward pool that is distributed proportionally to the top 10 most voted on liquidity pools. So we can go ahead and come down here to the vote for the next cycle, and you'll note that gAlgo Algo is right there at the top. And so I'm going to go ahead and just say I'm going to vote 100% of my voting power, that Tiny power that we've discussed. I'm going to submit my vote. And once you submit your vote, it is permanent. There's no way to undo it. So I've submitted my vote. You can see that here. Take note, 6.71 just increased to 6.73% after I casted my vote. So I am a portion of this vote, but what I'm trying to indicate is I want this to be one of the top 10 pools, but I also want it to receive the largest portion of the Tiny token rewards. And you can see how this lays out. Right now, Tiny and Algo, that liquidity pool has the most votes, then USDC Algo, and then in fourth is gAlgo Algo. So I'm casting my votes in favor of that to receive extra Tiny rewards from this 1.7 Tiny tokens in those liquidity pools. And so you'll just want to be very conscientious of the voting period. There's a vote every month, and you can see that this vote has lasted for 5 days, and it's coming to an end here shortly. It ends in 1 day and 20 hours. So you'll want to make sure you cast your vote for the liquidity pool that you feel deserves to earn some extra Tiny rewards. Tinyman has also stated that those that vote and participate in governance and submit proposals may be eligible for additional airdrops. So I would highly encourage users to follow along with Tinyman's Medium articles. I highly encourage users to follow along with folks' finances, Medium articles. There's a lot happening in Algorand's ecosystem, and this just pairs very nicely with two of my favorite protocols in Algorand's ecosystem. We have folks' finance, and I covered that extensively in previous videos of how I leverage their liquid governance token gAlgo and leverage gAlgo Algo liquidity pool tokens on Tinyman, and then leverage that in the Algorand Governance protocol. So they're just ways to stack these strategies to help earn additional rewards. So I hope this shows how slick and smooth the Tinyman Governance platform is. I am very impressed with the rollout, very impressed with the distribution of the tiny tokens, very impressed with how well thought out this is. Eventually, the foundation is moving away from governance rewards to rewarding consensus, and Tinyman is poised very strongly to help encourage users to keep their liquidity pool tokens on Tinyman, to help encourage users to stay active in DeFi and stay active on their DEX, because it will become very apparent when Algorand takes away the target DeFi rewards. The farming program will heavily rely on these tiny tokens to help incentivize users to provide liquidity and earn those extra rewards for those that stay active. So kudos to the Tinyman team. Kudos to Folks Finance. They are doing big things, and I'm going to have a follow-up video on their testnet, but I just wanted to share this strategy. It's a nice way to increase those rewards, especially for those that have been following along with previous videos. So I hope this helps, and I hope everyone has a great day.